appreciate very much the opportunity to meet once again with President Jonathan and his delegation. Obviously, Nigeria is one of the most powerful and fastest growing countries in the world. I think that's testified by the fact that President Jonathan's going to have the opportunity to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. I think it signifies how important Nigeria is becoming in the global economy. We have a very strong relationship between the United States and Nigeria. It's not just based on government-to-government relations, but also people-to-people relations. And we have an outstanding Nigerian-American community here in the United States that is making incredible contributions in every field, every single day. President Jonathan has committed to building on the democratic process that we've seen in Nigeria in the past. The last election that brought President Jonathan to power was a hallmark on the continent and in Nigeria in terms of free and fair elections, and I know that he is committed to making sure that the elections in 2015 move in that same fashion. We're going to be able to have an opportunity to talk about the issues of energy and power. Nigeria is a major energy producer, but it's also an important energy consumer. And as many of you know who were on the trip that I took to Africa just recently, we are really focused on how we can help to bring electricity and power generation throughout Africa, not just in the big cities, but also in the rural areas. Nigeria is a potential partner in that process. We want to develop the human capital throughout the continent and in Nigeria, and that's why I'm excited about the Young African Leaders Initiative that is going to allow us to have young African leaders from across the continent, including Nigeria, here in the United States, where they can interact with top leaders here, our universities, our businesses, and that will further strengthen the ties between our two countries. And we're going to have an opportunity to discuss some significant challenges on the security front in Nigeria. In the northern regions of Nigeria, we've seen the emergence of one of the most vicious terrorist organizations in the world, Boko Haram. It presents an extraordinary security challenge for the people of Nigeria, and we want to be cooperative in that process of building capacity inside Nigeria to deal with that terrorist threat, but doing so in a way that is consistent with human rights, because we strongly believe that the best way to undermine the agenda of those who would do violence is to make sure that governments are responsive to the needs of people and following rule of law. On that topic, let me just make one last point. I've had the opportunity to speak with President Kenyatta directly about the terrible tragedy that's happened in Nairobi. And we are providing all the cooperation that we can as we deal with the situation that has captivated the world. I want to express personally my condolences to not only President Kenyatta, who lost some family members in the attack, but to the Kenyan people. We stand with them against this terrible outrage that's occurred. We will provide them with whatever law enforcement support that is necessary, and we are confident that Kenya, which has been a pillar of stability in Eastern Africa, will rebuild. But this, I think, underscores the degree to which all of us, as an international community, have to stand against the kind of senseless violence that these kinds of groups represent. And the United States will continue to work with the entire continent of Africa and around the world to make sure that we are dismantling these networks of destruction. With that, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Since after we're meeting for the first time after the elections, even though I sent a letter, I would like to formally congratulate you for the electoral victory. And thank you for inviting me and my team to intervene with you and the team today before the UN General Assembly discussions tomorrow. Nigeria and US have been natural allies, and the relations have been very strong, and it's beyond the interests of Nigeria and the United States of America alone. Well, in terms of Nigeria and United States of America, Nigeria, of course, is the second largest economy in Africa, the most populated African state. About 20% of Africans are in Nigeria. So it's the largest trading partner of the United States of America and the continent of Africa. So it's a key country, and we cherish that relationship between America and Nigeria. And just like America is, of course, it's a strong country in terms of global peace and security, the biggest economy. Nigeria play big at the African level, the second largest economy, but in terms of peace and security, in fact, it's the #1 country to stabilize West Africa and the rest of Africa. So the relationship between these two countries is very, very dear, not just to America and Nigeria, but to West Africa and the rest of Africa. And I always say that for you to fix the world, you must fix Africa. And for you to fix Africa, you have to fix Nigeria. And if you don't fix Nigeria, then you lost it. Actually, you must fix Nigeria, because that's the highest concentration of blacks and the globe. For this meeting, it will be fruitful, because just like President Barack Obama said, the whole world is facing challenges, economic issues, but especially the security issues. Just mentioned about the incident that happened in Kenya. During Obama's express condolences and sympathy for what happened. Because we have experienced us recently, and we still experience in Nigeria. So I feel the pains of President Kenyatta to get that level of attack, that dastardly attack. And that is why we maintain that terror anywhere in the world is terror on all of us. And we call on the global leaders to come together and fight terror. And until we all agree to wipe out terror all over the world will continue to embarrass this act of violence. Sometimes you don't know whether people are really safe to do what they are doing. Nigeria will continue to cooperate with America to solve our problems, continental problems, of course, and also the problems of the world. And that is one of the reasons we believe that today, at the end of our discussions, we will be quite pleased, because we know that America has been supporting us, especially this recent terror attack on us by the Boko Haram. But we will need even more support, because collectively we'll be able to solve the problem. If Nigeria alone is allowed, without the support of the external community, it will take us a longer period. The shorter period, the better to protect human lives. So once again, I thank you, Mr. President, for this invitation. We're quite grateful for that, and we'll be able to discuss these key issues, the economic issues, the security issues. And I have to commend you on the Power Africa initiative, and also the Young Leaders, African Young Leaders Initiative. And somehow we think alike, because in Nigeria we have 3 products about young people. One we call YOWIN, another one called the Nanopreneurs, that focus on encouraging young graduates to go into agriculture for us to produce the middle manpower that are the drivers of the economy. And we give them grants to establish farms, different farms. You win the right proposals, and we give them grants between $10,000 to $90,000 to establish small businesses. So we want young people to think about how they will employ themselves, not to wait for employment to come from bigger corporate bodies or governments. And of course, the Power Africa initiative is quite commendable. Of course, you know that presently Nigeria is privatizing our power infrastructure. I think some of the American companies, CBN or so, quite a number of them are quite involved. And so far, we have privatized about 3 billion assets, 3 billion worth of assets. And it's one of the most successful privatizations that we have ever done. Sometimes people talk about, oh, Nigeria could really do it correctly. But just like you mentioned about elections, our privatization program at over 3 billion, and we're still going on. So far, there are no stories at all. We are doing it based on the global best practice. And let me commend America again for the assistance they gave us during the 2011 elections. I did mention that even though I was contesting that election, I'll make sure that the elections were done transparently. In most cases, Nigerian elections are very, very controversial. Even the one that brought me in as the vice president then was very, very controversial. Even at the level of the Supreme Court, out of the 7 justices, 4 were for upheld elections, 3 were against the elections. Narrowly, elections have been annulled. But 2011 elections, in the appeal court, the 5 justices said that elections were fair and fair. When it was appealed to the Supreme Court, the 7 justices said that elections were fair and fair. And everybody, both local and international observers, said that from 1960 that Nigeria gained independence, the 2011 elections are the best. And we promise to keep faith with that. We'll continue to even improve on that, because we believe that one thing to make sure that you don't encourage wrongdoing, whether corruption, nepotism, or whatever, is to make sure that people elect those who represent them. And I promise Nigerians that the votes of Nigerians must count. Everybody must have just one vote, because by law, that is what you have. And there will be no room for manipulations. And we promise the international community that will keep faith in that, because that is the only way we can help to build stronger institutions. And I also commend you on building institutions. And that is it's always the focus of our government, that we must build strong institutions that will transcend the individuals occupying such institutions. So whether Mr. A is there, or Mr. B, or Mrs. C, the activities of government will not suffer. So once again, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.